Hi everybody, it's Jamie Geller. Welcome back to the most amazing Shabbat show on planet Earth. I am wishing you a Shabbat Shalom from Israel. I hope you'll do the same, and please tell me where you're watching from. We just love hearing from you and seeing how this show is uniting all of us around Shabbat from all over the world. Okay, so last week's recipe or recipes were a huge hit. And the truth is we had so much fun making this video, really had the opportunity to flex our creative muscles and reimagine how we could enjoy and entertain with bagels and lox, a Jewish deli sandwich, falafel, and so much more. Now we got a lot of cues about one of the specific platters that we shared. So take a look, we'll roll tape, and then I'll come back and answer your most frequently asked cue. I hope you enjoyed watching that and just are salivating and wanting to recreate these boards. But there were a lot of questions about the most popular board, which was, not surprising, the Israeli platter. So a lot of people were concerned about being able to source and find red zchug, green zchug, harissa paste, preserved lemon paste, and what to put in the spoons. So I have a really great, easy alternative for you. Just put colorful spices in those spoons. You can start with flaky salt, peppercorns, something green. I like to use za'atar. You could use parsley. Something reddish purple. I use sumac. You could use paprika. Something in the yellow family. I love using baharat. You can use turmeric. And that way you'll have the same effect, but with ingredients that you can find in your local supermarket or easily have delivered from Amazon. So before I turn the show over to Charlie, I want to let you know, of course, as always, I'll be back at the end of the show with a special, amazing, delicious new recipe and a great story about when I first started out. And wow, things have just really changed in the food world. So stay tuned. In the meantime, Shabbat Shalom and enjoy the show.
And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Shabbat Show. It's an honor to be with you again.
So we were so happy to be an honor to be part of this.
We are now going to head up to Toronto. Now, hello, Leibowitz family.
Bar mitzvah through Zoom. Mazel tov, Simon tov.
We go into Shabbos together. Let's go into Shabbos. Let's let all the worries behind us.
So I learned how to bake challah.
First of all, my first Shabbat Shalom has to go out to Charlie Harari.
This is it. Last question for the win.
This time of uncertainty, this time of challenge.
And in this type of an environment, with a broad community of people all over the world who were bringing Shabbat home.
The key to joy really lie within my own faith.
Art, science, but certainly of wine. And I'm going to give you a quick 2-minute, make everybody wine expert tasters.
It encouraged me to start lighting candles, whether I was by myself or with my family.
Everything that I valued, everything that I had prioritized in my life right then, when I saw her cyanotic blue, tips of her nails were purple, lifted out of the pool with men screaming, "Somebody call 911, somebody call 911.
I started my journey as a Bali Chuba. I started keeping Shabbat, started keeping kosher.
Is it Cabernet Sauvignon?
And I realized that I was so energized, recharging my Jewish batteries.
Concord, Pinot Noir?
We do all of the event stuff.
Or Chardonnay?
But we shut down on Shabbat.
We can help each person.
I got into a point in my life where I don't care what anybody says or thinks about me, as long as I'm doing the right thing.
And we come to this one magical, incredible thing called Shabbos.
I think that in order for us to become better human beings along the way, it starts with just basically putting yourself in their shoes, right?
The Kahoot game continues. Passaic is on top.
Times when you tell yourself, I can feel pain, I don't have to become my pain. I can feel sorrow, I don't have to become my sorrow.
They don't say if he falls, they say when he falls.
Which of these popular items was first developed in Israel?
A couple of pieces of information here a lot of people don't know. I was one of the backup dancers in that God Elbaz number.
Shabbat Shalom. With God's help, if we're not in Israel next week, I look forward to seeing you again next week.
You don't realize how amazing you are.
And hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Shabbat Show. It is an honor to be with you right now, and it's really great to have you back again. Thanks so much for being able to be with us here on the next edition of the show. For those who are coming for the first time, you saw us last week. Thanks so much. We do this every single week. Last week, we had this extravaganza. We had a special 2-hour Shabbat show in honor of the Shabbat Project. We thank Chief Rabbi Goldstein again for doing that and for launching that across the world, and thank Project Inspire for all that they do. And we have mentioned there a whole bunch of times that we do this every week, by the way. We party every week. Like, it's what we do. Thursday night, a little earlier, 8 o'clock, we get together and we get ready to roll. Like, Shabbat is coming. So thanks so much for joining us on the Shabbat show. Today's Shabbat show is dedicated, and we thank our friend Dr. Reuven Shakui and his family for their generous sponsorship of tonight's Shabbat show. On behalf of the Refuah Shlema, the Kol Chole Yisrael, for all individuals that need a recovery, for a complete recovery, for our brothers and sisters who are healing. This week, we got a special show. This week is all about kosher. And we are partnering with an amazing organization, the Orthodox Union, the OU, an organization that I am well connected to, and I owe a tremendous amount of hakarat tov. They enabled me to get involved really young in my life, and they've held on to me. So I'm honored that we get to partner with them. OU Kosher is probably how most people know the OU. They provide kosher certification for over 1 million. Yeah, I said that right. 1 million products. There are those many kosher products? Yes, there are those many kosher products in more than 8,500 plants worldwide. This is a serious business. This isn't your great-grandfather's kosher anymore. We're talking about all over the world. It's by far the world's largest kosher certification and kosher supervision agency. For those who are familiar with their teen program, NCSY, you know this is one of the projects of this incredible organization. Now, this show is not only for those who keep kosher. This is a show for anybody, because this is about kosher. Wherever you are, if you're watching, regardless of wherever you are on the kosher spectrum, it doesn't matter, because it's part of who we are. And just understanding what goes into it, just understanding what it means and what the sacrifices are, it just gives us another appreciation for our nation, for our people. So stick with us. I know that I'm going to learn a lot, and I hope that you learn a lot. And I'm sure the show is going to enlighten us in many, many ways. A lot going on in Project Inspire. I want to just give everybody, whoever is interested, in a couple of updates as to what's on the calendar for the week. On Monday, there is a Taste of Shabbat. They're baking desserts in Brooklyn. People are watching the show every week and loving it, bringing new tastes to their Shabbat meal. Check that out, Taste of Shabbat. That's Monday. Tuesday, there's MINDFLEX, the deep dive series, The Path to Greatness, with Aryeh Wolbe of Houston and hosted by Project Inspires by Yoni Zakatinsky. If you're interested in an interactive, more intensive learning experience, this is your shot. You'll get into a virtual classroom and get into a real discussion. Check that out. Everything is on, obviously, projectinspire.com. On Wednesday, there's MINDFLEX. It's not my fault. I was born that way. And other lies we tell ourselves, given by Josh Brody, a close friend, a lawyer at one of the top law firms in the country. You don't want to miss that. An incredible guy. We've got a great show coming up. We've got Kahoot, so get that ready, kahoot.it. You want to get that going. Even as I'm talking, get Kahoot ready, because when Kahoot comes, everyone's like, oh my God, it's Kahoot. You got to compete. This is the fun we have every single week. We got a great lineup from OU Kosher talking about the different aspects of kosher. We got Shimon Apostolf again. If you remember, we had him on before the high holidays. He was always great. We've got a tribute to the former chief rabbi of the UK by Jonathan Sachs. Of course, Jamie Geller is on. We got videos and inspiration. There's a lot going on. Of course, shout outs, Shabbat Shaloms. They mean a lot to me. They mean a lot to everybody who hears them. Not just the people that I'm giving them to, but everybody. We feel like we're part of one family. So please, you can do it on Zoom. If you're on Zoom Live with us, and if you're not on Zoom Live, go to my Facebook page and leave it there. And would love to give you a Shabbat Shalom. It'll mean a lot to me and mean a lot to everybody else. And of course, you could always go to the ShabbatShow.com for this show, for previous shows, and for larger interviews that we do that, we only cut pieces for the show. Of course, every week we talk about this, and more people are taking advantage. And I would implore you, especially in the wintertime, right? We have more time. We get home. Like, I don't know about you, but like yesterday was like 5:30. I'm like, is it 9 o'clock? Like, you ever get that feeling where like you're looking at your watch, like it's 7 o'clock. I feel like I've been home for like 8 hours, like the winter just does something to us. And it's a great time to study. What's a half an hour? You're home anyways for so many hours sometimes at night. Check out one-on-ones. Try it out. One-on-one at text one-on-one to 97,000. It's a great opportunity to study more, to learn more. This is really, really great. And I want to begin the show really about the chief rabbi. Last weekend was a very difficult weekend for the Jewish people. We lost two tremendous pillars. One was a rabbi named Rabbi David Feinstein, the son of Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, or David Feinstein. Our family knows well. From my wife is from the Lower East Side. He was a giant in a way that is almost incomprehensible to the regular person, not only in his actions and his midos, but in his knowledge. And we mourn his loss, and it's a loss for the Jewish people. There was another rabbi that was lost as well, that we lost. I'm going to show a video about him. He was somebody who really inspired the world in a very different way, but in a very powerful way. Chief Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, his authorship, his speaking, he was able to be an ambassador to so much of our ideas, to Jews and non-Jews alike. I remember myself personally, first time I was ever introduced to Rabbi Sacks, I was sitting in a hotel room and I read one of his books, and I was so floored that I think I was able to use like 2 paragraphs in like a speech, the whole speech on just like 2 paragraphs. And since then, watching him and reading him, and it's really been life-changing. And so we want to give a small little tribute to Rabbi Sacks. Please check this out.
A beautiful quote. You just did. I started off telling you about my parents, and it just comes to mind. I remember my father said to us that the last time he saw you, you remembered my mother had asked you a question, why do bad things happen to good people? And you said to my father, tell your wife I still don't have an answer for her. I was wondering if you had any more insight.
Yes, I do, actually.
Oh.
God does not want us to understand why bad things happen to good people. Because if we ever understood, we would be forced to accept that bad things happen to good people. And God does not want us to accept those bad things. He wants us not to understand so that we will fight against the bad and the injustices of this world. And that is why there is no answer to that question, because God has arranged that we shall never have an answer to it.
I thought that was so powerful, and I'm sure you will as well. It's a little taste of what of who Rabbi Sacks was, and we'll miss him, and we'll miss obviously Rabbi Feinstein. And you know, when great people pass on, it only puts the burden on the rest of us. No one will ever fill in the shoes of either of those 2 giants, but together hopefully we'll inspire each other. We'll remember that God wants us to fight always for justice and for good, regardless of the outcomes. I thought it was a very powerful and poignant, relevant message for this period of time. On a little bit of a lighter note, if you remember, we had the man on the street. Remember Michael on the street? We had him a couple of weeks ago. Well, he's actually in England right now. He is in Leeds. And he took us on his streets to see what's going on over there. Check this out from Michael on the streets.
All right, hello. We're actually in my hometown. This is Leeds. Everything's changed. I don't recognize anything here. There's not even as many homeless people, and it's kind of disappointing. Whenever Americans ask me, where are you from? And I tell them Leeds, they go, oh, what is that, like a village? I'm like, no, it's got 1 million people here. Shut up. Testing, 1, 2, 3. This was a library pub. I got very sober there once. Hi Charlie, welcome back. And today we're going to be asking questions about kosher. What's kosher, what people think kosher is, what it means to them or what it doesn't maybe mean to them. So yeah, welcome to the Corn Exchange in Leeds as we start this week's show. What is kosher?
It's like, I guess it's just food that you should eat, probably. I don't know. I've never kept kosher, so I don't know.
Do you know what kosher is?
Not exactly, no. I do have Jewish friends. It's their lifestyle, so I'm assuming it's something to do with that.
Kosher is the guidelines by which we make all our dietary choices, you know, governed by the laws in the Torah, on the lower levels or the practical levels by the local rabbis.
It's safer because all the blood is out and la la la. That's all I can say for the time being, really.
All right, we're in this corn exchange in Leeds right now. This place was built in 1863. It quite literally was, it sounds like. It was a corn exchange, a place that people used to just come buy and sell the corn, and then it turned into something completely different. So welcome to the corn exchange. It's a beautiful building. What animal is kosher?
Okay, any animal that has split hooves and chews the cud is kosher.
Most things are kosher, actually, contrary to popular belief. Things that are not kosher are meat that's not been slaughtered properly, according to Jewish law, shellfish, fish without fins and scales, most birds, meat and milk together.
Shouldn't probably eat pig or seafood or, any of the good stuff, really. No, I shouldn't say that, should I?
Give me a sneaky animal that looks like it is, but is not kosher.
Well, there's obviously the pig is the famous one.
No, but why the pig?
Because it has split hooves, but it doesn't chew the cud.
The Talmud does say that for every taste of non-kosher, there is the equivalent taste of kosher.
Give me examples of kosher foods.
So definitely cholent. Chicken soup, always for the win. Gefilte fish, kugel.
Do you think that being kosher or keeping kosher actually restricts a person?
Well, it definitely does. I mean, you can't eat things. That's pretty restrictive, I think. According to most definitions of restrictions, that's pretty restrictive.
It said in the Torah that we've got to eat certain foods, and that's the kosher food. And also kosher's, it's a state of mind, because if you're eating pure stuff, you feel pure, and it's better for the world that way.
Not bad. Okay, that's it, everyone. That's me speaking about what kosher is, what kosher isn't, what people don't know about it, what they do know about it. Hope it was pretty interesting to you. I'm going to head out and get my steps in for the rest of the day today. And that's it. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael. As always, very informative, and enjoy your trip at Leeds. I also had no idea how many people live there, and I would bet you that most people would be like me. And so we're happy that you are informing us and educating us every single way. Our first guest is Rabbi Moshe Elephant. Rabbi Elephant is the Chief Operating Officer at OU Kosher. His role at OU Kosher, Rabbi Elephant manages the day-to-day operations of some 1,000 kosher supervisors. Did you hear that? 1,000 rabbis. He's managing 1,000 rabbis and rabbinic coordinator operators out of 10,000 plants in over 110 countries. Rabbi Elephant's name has additionally become strongly identified with Passover holiday, helping people with their kashrus questions. Rabbi Elephant, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to see you, Charlie. Again, we're big fans of yours. And now we have another reason to be. Such a wonderful show.
Thank you, and it's totally mutual, and I thank you on behalf of our people. I cannot believe how many people that you are managing to allow us to eat almost everything that we can find. Now, I think when people think kosher, they don't understand how large the world of kosher is, like the scope of it. Can you just give us a little sense of just the work that you're doing so that we can get our heads around just how much is happening at the OU to make products kosher?
Well, it's absolutely incredible, the amount of work and the scope of what we do. And I'll tell you what I mean. The world has become an extremely small place. The world is a village. What I mean to say is, when you buy any product, you'll open your pantry, you'll open your refrigerator, and almost all the products that you see a product and you eat it and you drink it. But every product is made out of a myriad of ingredients. For example, many products, I dare say most products, have in them flavors. You'll see on the ingredient panel natural flavors, artificial flavors, and it's critical. These flavors are critical to the taste of the food that we eat. But a simple flavor, and I don't want to speak about complex flavors, but a simple flavor could easily be made up of hundreds of ingredients, because they take all these different chemicals and all these different ingredients to get to the perfect taste of the food or drink that you're going to consume. Now, kosher doesn't give you any shortcuts. So if you're going to have a food that has a flavor, every one of the ingredients and every one of the flavors that are in that food have to be kosher. Now, you don't have to be a big mathematician to start doing some simple arithmetic. If you talk about 1 million products being just OU certified, and let's say just 50% of the products that we certify have flavors, and every one of those flavors just has 100 ingredients in it, which is all being very conservative. If you start doing the math, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of ingredients. And we at the OU, in order to be able to certify these products, have to dot every I and cross every T, which means that every ingredient has to be perfectly kosher. And as I said a moment ago, these ingredients are sourced all over the world. So we need to have rabbis, or what we call mashgichim, supervisors, rabbinic field representatives, traveling all around the world and checking these factories and supervising that all these ingredients are being made in a way that they are indeed considered kosher. So you think about it, the world, because the world became so small, when I came to the OU 33 years ago, and a product that was made in the United States, all the ingredients were made in the United States. And the product that was made in Europe, all the ingredients were from Europe. Now, many ingredients, if not most ingredients that are used here in the United States, come from abroad. And therefore, we have a very big challenge and a very big job and a very big responsibility that we're very happy to fulfill.
It's interesting that you say that. What's amazing, as I'm hearing you talk, you're reminding me of a story. When I was working years ago, I was working in charge of a real estate project, and there was a guy on the staff, and we were sitting once, and he was holding in OU Kosher in a way that I had never seen. He knew restaurants, he knew products. And I said, I didn't know you were Jewish. He says, I'm not Jewish. I said, well, you're not Jewish. Are you kidding me? Like, you know more about the OU than I do. He goes, no, I am severely lactose intolerant. If I have any milk, I can be really, hurt. I said, and he goes, I only trust the OU. Like, if they tell me there's no milk, he goes, I don't know anyone else that I can trust to tell me there's no milk except for the OU. So when the OU says it's parv, and he says parv to me, I'm like, and now that I'm hearing you say something that I don't think anybody appreciates, the fact that there's no shortcuts in kosher, and you got to go down to the granular level, that this is what you're doing and working so hard, it's being appreciated. So let me ask you this. So how do you manage it all? Like, how does it work? Are people on the road all the time? Are they traveling all over the world? Can you give us a glimpse into the lives of, I guess, the network that the OU has just to maintain this level of supervision?
Well, it's a huge job. It's a huge responsibility. And we have our headquarters in downtown Manhattan, which I vaguely remember because we haven't been there in 8 months. We're all working remotely from our homes. And in fact, just managing this in the last 8 months of the world of COVID only became more complicated, you could well imagine.
Wow.
But what we do is we identify people who could act as our representatives all around the world. We find rabbis who are competent and willing to do these assignments for us. If we can't find somebody, we'll always find somebody to go there. So for example, not long ago, I would say about an hour and a half ago, I was in an extensive conversation with a rabbi who spent the beginning of this week in Bahrain. Now, at the beginning of the introduction, you spoke about how many countries the OU gives supervision. So in the last couple of weeks, 2 new countries came on board. One is the United Arab Emirates, and this week, Bahrain. So we don't have a rabbi in Bahrain. I don't think there is a rabbi in Bahrain. I know there is no rabbi in Bahrain, but because of the Abraham Accords, we were able to get a rabbi from Israel to go to Bahrain. And as we speak, there are 4 hotels already in Bahrain that are very excited about being able to prepare kosher meals. These are luxury hotels that will be able to service kosher guests.
Wow, that's incredible.
So we're really trying to juggle all of this. I'm on call. I tell everybody, I heard that last week was your Shabbat program. So I'm the biggest fan of Shabbat because on Shabbat, there are no phones, there are no computers, there's no WhatsApp and emails. And that's really the only day that we cannot be connected, because the rest of the week we're connected literally 24/7. If any rabbi ever says you're allowed to speak on the telephone on Shabbat, he's going to have a real problem with me.
well, Rabbi, we really appreciate that what you do for us. And, sometimes in life, just being able to hear it allows us to appreciate it more. And I'm sure I know me personally, when I go to the supermarket the next time and I look at that thing that I just take off, and I see, when I look at a box, I look for one thing. I look for the OU. And you look at a box, you're looking at everything else. So I appreciate giving us the ability to only focus on one symbol, and you have to worry about everything else. And we thank you for your service on behalf of the Jewish people and for what you do to enable us to enjoy the world that God has given us.
And thank you so much for having us. And certainly if anyone who's listening is interested in learning more about kosher, they are certainly able to come to our website, not taking them away from Project Inspire, God forbid. And there's a wealth of information about kosher on our website, and they can always call us. We have a hotline manned by individuals who are always willing and able to try to be helpful with your questions.
Amazing. What's the website so that everybody has it?
oukosher.org. You can find it and easily, and we're very anxious to be helpful.
Yeah, and just so you know, before I let you go, for those who are listening, there is a hotline. Go to oukosher.org or ou.org and look for it. And if you have any kosher questions, I've used it. I've been on the road. I can't tell you how many times I'm calling and saying, hey, I'm here or I'm there, or I'm stuck. And it's so helpful. The OU has made not only the certification process so helpful and wonderful, but they've also made the assistance for those that are interested. So if you're out there and you have questions or you are interested, please check them out. oukosher.org. Thank you, Rabbi, and have a Shabbat Shalom, and enjoy the rest that you get this Shabbat, because I know that you'll be on call as soon as Shabbat is over.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Good Shabbos.
Thank you. Good Shabbos. And that was Rabbi Elephant. It's amazing if you think about just how much goes into something that, I consistently take for granted. But it's happy that we get to learn it and understand it. And this is part of the joy of what it means to realize our people. And this is what we're talking about. This is our people. Individuals that go out and sacrifice so the rest of us can eat. Right? Is that not Judaism? Isn't that it? Okay, a couple of Shabbat Shaloms before we get to our video. Shabbat Shalom to the Novak family from Toronto. Shabbat Shalom to you. Shabbat Shalom to Michael Weingart. Shabbat Shalom to you, my buddy every day. I get to see Michael. So Shabbat Shalom, Rivka Tyler. Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov. Last week, Rivka was the winner of those AirPods from the Shabbat Shalom, from the Shabbos Project show. Shabbat Shalom to the Silver family in Highland Park, to the Mervis family. Shabbat Shalom to you. Shabbat Shalom to the Sobels in Thornhill, to Mark and Michelle Mandelman. Shabbat Shalom to you, and thank you for your contribution, Michelle. We appreciate that. We look forward. Michelle was sponsored the Daily Boost. I have a show every morning, the Daily Boost at 9 a.m. Thank you, Michelle, for that. Shabbat Shalom to Mike Skolnick. Mike Skolnick from St. Louis Rocks. Shabbat Shalom. This is from Mike Skolnick in St. Louis. Shabbat Shalom to you. Shabbat Shalom to Leah from Montreal. Shabbat Shalom to Henya in Toronto. We'll get to a couple more soon, but check out this video, just giving us a little bit more of a taste of the world of kosher.
And then we have 12-year-old Rachel Goldzal.
I am in the 7th grade, and I live in Staten Island. This is my favorite knife. I like to make comfort food with a healthy twist. And as an Orthodox Jew, between Sabbath and the holidays, I'm cooking all the time. Delicious shakshuka.
Rachel comes from a family that keeps kosher.
Anyone have the garlic powder? Yeah, I do.
Certain foods are off limits, such as pork and shellfish.
Thank you.
So all the basket ingredients are kosher.
I think the basket ingredients will make a great slider. Most people put cheese on burgers, but since I keep kosher, and kosher means no milk and meat together, I have to be more creative with my food.
This hash, it's really tasty. I love the flavor.
Thank you, Chef.
But this sauce, I'm just not a fan. I think the dates could have been used a little bit better.
I would have rather maybe like a really cool sauce with butter and some of the chopped dates and just drop it on top of the steak so it melts.
You don't put butter with meat, right? Is that?
Yeah.
So I understand why you did that. But the sauce suffered a bit. The date flavor was not present at all.
Rachel, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a private chef in a kosher home.
There you go. You're already doing it.
Rachel, thank you.
Thank you, chefs.
Pippa, you've been chopped. And that means, Rachel Goldzal, you are the chopped champion. Congratulations!
I'm excited, like a crazy amount.
Our first chopped champion that kept kosher.
Oh my God.
Yeah?
Kind of amazing.
My family and my friends are gonna like freak out. It's like a dream come true.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's great to see what people are doing, and God bless Rachel. Continue doing what you're doing and keep on playing and winning and sticking strong to your values no matter where you are. It makes me proud to be part of your nation, part of your team. And thank you for that. Our next interview is with a rabbi named Rabbi Rossman. I tried reaching Rabbi Rossman. I hope we get as much as we can of this next video. We got him in front of a dairy plant. He was supervising cheese production. He's out in the middle of some area where there was no real coverage, and we got as much as we can. So just to give you a sense of what some of these supervisors are doing and going through, check out Rabbi Rossman.
So the company, Dairy Farmers of America, has partnered with the OU to ensure that their product is 100% kosher. And so what I do is I come in, I live in Cleveland, Ohio, and I drive in to the plant, and I ensure all the ingredients are kosher. There's a lot that goes into making sure a product is kosher. So when you see that final product sitting on the shelf in the supermarket, you have to realize there's a lot that went into it to get it to that point. So there's a lot of different ingredients that are used in the cheese making process, and so I'm here to make sure that the ingredients are 100% kosher. People who, like myself, work in this industry, we have to go to these places and do the supervision so that the kosher consumer can have that assurance that their product is 100% kosher. That's it from here, from New Wilmington. Back to you guys. Back to you, Charlie.
It was amazing. We actually worked for a while on this one, and it's just, he's out there literally when they're running cheese production, he's got to be there 24/7 for all the different pieces and things that they bring to the cheese. It's amazing to see. Leaves his family, goes to these production facilities, and is a big part of it. Okay, now it's time for Kahoot. I didn't realize it would come so quickly. It's already 8:30. This is amazing. How time is flying when you're having fun talking about food. It's almost Shabbat and time is flying. Okay, Kahoot time. For those who are hear us for the first time, we play Kahoot every week and we compete. Go to kahoot.it or get it on your phone. Type in 3367367. Let's get rolling. Everyone just jump onto Kahoot. While we do that, let me get a couple of Shabbat Shaloms in. Shabbat Shalom to Gabby Keston of Queens. Shabbat Shalom to you. Shabbat Shalom to Jen. Shabbat Shalom to Beth Zinderman from New Hampshire, to Leo Parallel in New York City. Shabbat Shalom to Helen from Toronto, to Jerry and Goldie Tauber of Ballackinwood. Shabbat Shalom. I think that's Jamie's mom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to Eileen Grant from Sandy Springs, Georgia. Shabbat Shalom to Carol Drucker in New York. A special Shabbat Shalom to Gavriel and Rachel in Passaic. And I want to give a special Refuah Shlema to Ruchama Aviva Bas Shena Chana. We're about to get started. One more minute. Take out your phone and go to Kahoot. If you want to play it on your phone, go to kahoot.it. You can go on your computer. You want to get onto this game because this is the way to compete with family and friends. Mom, if you're listening, my mom, I have to make sure my mommy gets on. That's how it rolls. It's the Jewish boy in me. 3367367. Takes her just a couple more seconds. So we'll wait for a second. 3367367. Let's get started. Kahoot. Let's do it. Okay, here goes. All of these animals are technically kosher except deer, giraffe, coyote, or buffalo? This is a hard question, guys. Project Inspire team. I don't know. All of these animals are technically kosher except deer, giraffe, coyote, or buffalo. Which one of these are not technically kosher? I know you should be asking the restaurant to prepare the other ones. Okay, let's see what the answer is. The answer is coyote, deer, giraffe, and buffalo. I bet how many people got this right? That's amazing. Okay, we got a pretty sophisticated group. Let's go to the next question, see how we did. How we're rolling. Rachel S., of course, Patriots Rock is shown up on the board. US, Ellie, and Morty. Let's go to the next question. A fish needs these two characteristics to be kosher: sight and hearing, fins and teeth, scales and migration nature, or fins and scales. What are the things that fish need to be kosher? Sight and hearing, fins and teeth, scales and migration nature, or fins and scales? And the answer is very good, fins and scales. Fins, let's see how we're doing. Patriots Rock climbs up on the board. Rachel S., Ellie US, and Rachel. Okay, let's keep on rolling. Next question. Hummus is made from chickpeas. I didn't even know that. Another shelf name for chickpeas is lima beans, lentils, garbanzo beans, and sesame seeds. I know this one. Shabbat shalom to Nolan, the Popels in Miami. Shabbat shalom to you. Rana Adler, Shabbat shalom. To Bet Zuckerbro from Smithtown, New York. Shabbat shalom. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hummus. Another name for hummus is, I know this answer because sometimes I've shopped for hummus, for chickpeas. The answer is garbanzo beans. Oh, that was an easy one. People got that quick. I even knew that one. That was the gimme in the middle, just to make sure everyone's paying attention. Let's see how we did on the scoreboard. Patriots Rock still on top. Rachel S., Ellie US, and Rachel. Okay, here comes the last round. Let's see if Patriots Rock can hold her lead, or if she'll be upset this week by some other contestants. Gefilte fish is mostly caught in Scandinavian coastal waters, the Mediterranean Sea, Polish lakes, in mountainous areas, or nowhere. It's not a fish. I don't know this answer, and I'd like to know. Gefilte fish. For the Sephardi brothers and sisters among us, you have no idea what's going on right now. Gefilte fish is caught where? And the answer is nowhere. It is not a fish. I don't know what to do with that, but I guess a lot of people know that answer. Okay, let's see who won Kahoot this week. Third place goes to Ellie. Welcome to the game. Second place goes to Rachel. And the first place, of course, Patriots Rock. Good job, Rivka. Another big victory. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Runners up US and Rachel, thank you so much for playing with us. And that was another game of Kahoot. Shabbat shalom to Lisa Weber of Pomona, Rockland County. Our next guest is Rabbi Eli Elef. He is the managing director of OU Kosher Community Relations. When not assisting community members in an organization, he specializes in dairy, beverage, and ingredient industries on his side job. Rabbi Elef is a Talmud of the Yeshivas Mir, Yeshiva Dvar Torah, and Yeshivas Or Chaim. He holds advanced degrees from Touro College and the University of Pennsylvania. Rabbi, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Charlie, for having me.
Rabbi, I have a question, and this question popped up here in the Zoom, but this is a question I keep on thinking every single time, which is, the OU is in all these different places. I had a chance to catch up with Rabbi Rossman earlier this week, and he's at this plant, and he's got to be there for the facilities. And, it seems like it's a lot for these facilities, right? There aren't that many of us. I mean, I know we consume a lot of food, like per person, but I mean, if you think about it from a broader scale, if you're a large manufacturer, why would you go through the trouble of bringing in the rabbi and making things kosher if it's not really hitting the amount of people that people are looking for? What's in it for the companies?
So Charlie, that's an excellent question. And to really answer that, it requires, I think, about another 5 or 6 hours for us to really discuss what I call the economics of kosher. Obviously, we don't have that kind of time, so I'll give you briefly, there's 3 answers to that. 1 is called competition, 2 is called Walmart, and 3 is called Coca-Cola. By that, I mean, every company, the profit margins in the food industry are not as large as people might think they are. And every company is looking for an edge. So a kosher consumer gives that company an edge. If your direct competitor's product is kosher and yours isn't, they have an advantage that you don't have. So you might go ahead and try to achieve kosher certification for your product as well. There's the Walmart model of kosher certification, which is Walmart is the holy grail of sales. If you can get your product onto the shelves in Walmart, you're set, or at least conceivably so. So a lot of companies do whatever it takes to get on Walmart's shelf. Walmart knows that kosher will sell more products, even if it's 1 more can of cream of mushroom soup. But if they can sell more product, Walmart's going to demand that the manufacturer, if they want that shelf space, has to be kosher certified. It costs Walmart nothing, and it's the cost of doing business with Walmart. And then you have the Coca-Cola model, which is, let's say you manufacture vanilla flavor, Rabbi Elephant mentioned flavors before, and you want to sell to Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola says, well, our product is kosher certified. If you want to be able to bid for our business, then your product also needs to be kosher certified so that we can even consider it to use in our products.
Wow. It's amazing just how much the larger industry, we think, us in our small way of seeing the world, right? We're thinking, well, I eat kosher, so what does it matter to the rest of the world? But the way I'm hearing you say it is that the great retailers and the manufacturers understand that there's a benefit in being able to make things kosher, and as a result, that benefit really inures to us and sort of sets the standard higher. And I would think that's one of maybe the greatest testaments to an organization like yours, is that not only do you make things kosher, you actually put kosher as a value on the map.
And it's a very important value. And we are in a service industry where we are servicing not only the cloud, the community as well, by providing kosher food wherever they might be, but we're servicing our clients as well, those kosher manufacturers, so that they can manufacture, meet the needs and demands of that kosher market.
So walk us through something for a second. When you say Coca-Cola, right? Coca-Cola is producing, I don't think, is it millions or is it billions of gallons every year? These are massive organizations. So how does that work with kosher certification? Are you there? Are you there at specific time? How does the certification process and the supervision process align with the scale of some of the largest organizations?
So everything we do is based upon systems and verifications. There's a misconception out there that when it comes to kosher certification, the rabbi goes out and blesses the food. Nothing could be further from the truth. Very often, there's no rabbi making blessings for miles around, especially if it's on a fast day. But the idea is that we have checks in place, systems to verify what's going on. And I can't really give you all the details here. Some of it might be proprietary based upon the complexity of the facility. But I could kind of walk you through, if you're interested. For 2 minutes here, I have a couple of slides that will show you exactly what we look at when we visit a facility. And then the visitation frequency, we have everything from once a year to someone that's permanently embedded, like Rabbi Rossman, is part of a team that's in that cheese facility in New Wilmington, Pennsylvania, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, if you can show us slides, that would be amazing. We'd love to see some of that. Oh, here we go.
Okay, so I just really like to briefly break it down into what I call the building blocks of kosher production. And really, in order to make a kosher product, there's 3 components. The first component is the ingredients. That means that all ingredients that are being used in the product need to be kosher certified or come from inherently kosher sources. The second component is the methods and processes, the lines, the facilities, whatever else is being produced there needs to be kosher, or there has to be kosherization, kosherizing systems put in place. And then finally, the label of the final product has to be kosher. One of my roles that I have at the OU that you mentioned before is that I oversee our community outreach. And we have our hotline and our web services, which receives close to 250 inquiries on a regular day, and about 1,000 to 1,500 inquiries in the days leading up to Pesach. And they'll call us up and say, someone says, I just found a new product on the shelf, is it kosher certified? And if we don't have a record of that, there's no way for us to verify that that product is indeed kosher certified. So it's important for us to have a record to both approve it from an ingredient and method standpoint, as well as be able to confirm to the consumers out there that this product is indeed kosher. And then you take all those three elements, you've now created a kosher product.
Amazing. Well, this is what's incredible about this whole process is that the amount of effort that goes into it and the amount of, sort of reach that it has. And I think one of the things that we're understanding and appreciating is just how big this is. Rabbi, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
My pleasure.
All that you do. And I just want to make sure the audience knows, can you just give us, if you can, the rundown of if someone's watching now and going, I'd like to learn more, I'd like to ask questions, how do they reach you?
Okay, so I actually put in the chat bar beforehand. Give me 1 second here. I can actually pull up a slide if I have enough time. So give me 1 second. I'll actually put it on the screen right now. Second. We have many different ways of reaching us. You can either call us on our hotline at 212-613-8241, email us at kosherq@ou.org, or you can download the OU Kosher app, which is available for both iOS and Facebook and iOS and Android at ou.org/apps. And additionally, we're also available on social media platforms, facebook.com/OUKosher, twitter.com/OUKosher, instagram.com/OUKosher, and linkedin.com/company/OU-kosher.
Amazing.
And we can send it out. And if you want to put that in a future email, we can give you that information as well.
That'd be great. And for those that are interested in more information, please feel free to reach out to the OU. And Rabbi, thank you so much for your work on behalf of our people, and continue shining your light on this world.
My pleasure.
And that was an incredible, to me, I'm just constantly taken by Jews that do things for other Jews and people that take care of other people. And the OU is clearly out there making sure that we have enough and we can enjoy so many products that would have otherwise really not been kosher. Our next guest is an author, an award-winning author of 10 books that have been read by hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Shimon Apostolf is an individual who is able to extract the essence of classic Jewish wisdom and show how it can be relevant to the essential issues facing the mind, heart, and soul in today's world. I had a chance to catch up with Shimon earlier this week and talk about kosher on a much more personal level. Check this out. So Shimon, thank you so much for joining us again. It's great to have you back on the show.
Thank you, Charlie. Great to be with you.
So I know that the last time we were here, you were writing all these books, and every time you write a book with a topic, I call you on it, right? Last time it was the High Holiday Guide, if you remember, and you wrote this big book. And now we're talking about kosher. I know you've got a book as well on why kosher. So give us, if you can, a little bit about your perspective about what is kosher, why keep kosher, how does it connect to, everybody?
How does it connect to everybody? I actually think that it does in a very, very powerful way. And, we're living in not easy times, Charlie. Everybody knows that. There's a pandemic. People are concerned about what's going on in society. People are concerned about the direction of society. Oftentimes, our world is seeming to be a darker and darker place. Mm-hmm. The mission of the Jewish people is to bring light into darkness. Keeping kosher is a part of being a leader. It's a part of being willing to be different. It's a part of being willing to have a different sort of inner discipline that prepares you to think differently, look beneath the surface of things. It's not just food that I'm eating. There's inner meaning. Mm-hmm. There's depth to it. A big part of what kosher is it calls us to look beyond the surface, to look deeper and find light where what's going on in the surface seems to be difficult to understand. Mm-hmm. And then to use that ability to see beyond the surface, to taste beyond the surface, and to bring that deeper meaning out into the light and use it as a force to enlighten the world. Mm-hmm. Kosher And so that's that, you know, in a big picture, kosher means living a little bit differently, living a little differently with a different sort of discipline, but not just for the sake of being different or separate or other. It's so that it opens you up to be able to think differently, perceive differently, and therefore bring a different sort of thought and light and insight into the world.
It was an interesting interview. For those who want to go to the ShabbatShow.com to be able to see the whole interview, we then spoke about this idea that when you're eating kosher, there's a certain intentionality, right? You have to figure out what it is, and are you eating it, and is it right, and is it aligned with the right laws? All of that process, he continued to describe, really allows a certain level of intentionality, which then directly allows the food to be something that matters more. Fascinating continuation of that conversation. Check it out on ShabbatShow.com. I'm sure that's going to be posted over the weekend. That was an excerpt of a much larger conversation, one that was very fascinating to me in hearing his concepts. Now it's time for our partner, Jamie Geller. Jamie always speak. I mean, we're talking about kosher food. I mean, so Jamie Geller takes kosher food and makes it look amazing. And so this is, as always, the highlight for us in the show. Check out Jamie Geller's latest.
Thank you, Charlie, so much. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hello to my parents. Hi, Shabbat Shalom. Love you guys. And happy to be back, as always. Okay, we have a new recipe for you. And keeping in mind the theme of the show being kosher, we are doing a meat pizza. Now, it is possible to do a meat and cheese pizza or a cheese and meat pizza with all of the alternatives that are out there. But I have to tell you that when I first started my career, which is about 13 years ago, my first book came out. And I know that because my first book came out the day that my first son was born. And it is his bar mitzvah this weekend. So it is his bar mitzvah, Shabbos, and it is the bar mitzvah of my whole career in food, and certainly as a published cookbook author. And I have to just tell you, in the beginning of my career, when I did things like meat pizzas or cheeseburgers with these alternative proteins, people were really freaking out. And some people didn't want to carry my magazines or my books in their bookstores because of that. It was just so new. But now it's become so mainstream that it's very widely accepted. And thanks to organizations just like the OU who are giving kosher certification to so many amazing, innovative products, we're really able to enjoy lots of things like cheeseburgers and pepperoni pizza. And here we've got a great Middle Eastern grilled pizza called lahmacun. So b'tei avon, enjoy, and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Jamie Geller. Of course, you could always find Jamie on all of her incredible things, jamiegeller.com, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all these opportunities to get to Jamie. But I want to give Jamie a special thank you for making lahmacun. Okay, so I am sure that we have people watching right now that are Sephardi. And I, as you know, I'm half Sephardi. My mother's from Munkash. My father's from Syria, which is a whole conversation for another show. And my grandmother, she should rest in peace, made the greatest lahmacun of all time. So if you're out there and your grandmother made lahmacun, or she still makes lahmacun, or your mom makes lahmacun, it is worth making it. So everyone go to Jamie's website, get that recipe, and taste a piece of our history. Thank you, Jamie. And I just thank my grandmother, she should rest in peace, for introducing me to that incredible food. And if you're out there and you're Sephardi, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You just smiled. You see, this is what I love about this show. We go from gefilte fish, which, by the way, is a fish. We have one of our guests on Facebook me that it is a fish. We go from gefilte fish to lachmajin within just a few minutes because we're one people. That's how we roll. Our next guest, great guy, Rabbi Chaim Goldberg. He's the rabbinic coordinator for OU Kosher and has worked for more than 18 years, where he manages many of the OU's fish and processed potato accounts. Rabbi Goldberg lives with his wife and children in Brooklyn, New York, but where I caught him was a place far from home. Check this out. So, Rabbi, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We really appreciate having you on.
Thank you very much for having me. Regards from Senegal. I'd like to teach your viewers some of the local Wolof language here in Senegal. The way we greet people here in Senegal is we say, Salam alaikum. And the proper way to respond to that is Malaikum assalam.
Malaikum assalam.
That's right. And we
Okay.
also shake hands like this when we greet people.
Two hands fisted together?
Exactly.
That's phenomenal. I wouldn't know that.
It's a very warm people here, and everywhere I've been, people have been just so pleasant and happy to see me, and it's been wonderful, really. So I'm here on behalf of the Orthodox Union doing some kosher inspection work. I've been here for the past couple of days. I went to do an inspection at a facility that makes pouches of tuna for StarKist, which are found all over the United States, even in the Holy Target near my house in Brooklyn. So anybody who wants to can enjoy the fruits of our labors with a big OU on it.
So what is it that you're supervising? What's the big deal? It's tuna. Like what are you going down for? What are the things that you look for? Like take us behind the scenes a little bit to what is life in your world.
Okay, so there's a couple different things that we're here to do. The primary reason I came exactly at this time was they just completed this morning a production of a ranch flavored tuna, which is made with a dairy ingredient, which when you use a dairy ingredient in a kosher product, that renders all the equipment that handles it dairy. In order to now make OU parv, meaning non-dairy tuna on the same equipment, we have to undergo a procedure referred to as a kosherization, where we're going to supervise that all the equipment is cleaned, washed down, and cooked up with nothing in it, just nice and clean, 2 times, running through the whole process through the cooking equipment. And then it's going to be considered parv again, so that they could start running OU parv traditional tuna on the same line. StarKist is very committed to keeping their products kosher, and the Jewish market is a significant market for them. But more than this number of Jewish people specifically buying this product, they want to keep the entire line as available as possible to the kosher consumer, to be sensitive to American consumers all over the place that want to get as good a tuna product as they can, and it's not getting any better than an OU certified tuna product.
What are some of the things that you look for? What are some of the things that you're worried about when you get to these plants?
Okay, so I'll start with today's plant. So today I was visiting this plant that's making product for StarKist. So in addition to supervising the kosherization, I also went through the ingredient storage area to see what raw ingredients they're drawing from and who the suppliers are. I want to make sure that every single supplier of every raw ingredient is an approved supplier. It's on their list that we've given them of suppliers that are acceptable and approved by Orthodox Union for use in OU products. I also want to make sure that there's no non-kosher ingredients that they might use, let's say, in a local product that would affect the kosher status of the equipment that they use when they want to go back to making product for export to US. So we have to check all of that. I also check the production scheduling and other products that they run on the equipment to make sure that there was nothing else that was either dairy or non-kosher that was run before the ranch tuna, and then that they just finished the ranch tuna 2 hours before my arrival.
So I understand that you went to Stuyvesant for high school.
Yeah, I look like a Stuyvesant grad, don't I?
So just give us the I guess the shortened version of that. How does a good boy from New York, from the top New York school, ends up becoming the expert in fish and other things, I'm sure, across the world for OU Kosher?
Well, it was a long, cold day way back in 1994 after getting hit by a car coming out of football practice and being sidelined literally because of that injury. I was feeling a little bit down and out, and a friend of mine convinced me to go visit the Jewish Culture Club at Stuyvesant High School, which was then handled by the Orthodox Union's outreach department known as NCSY.
Sure.
And the NCSY advisor used to just entertain us, and we had lots of very deep discussions and conversations about all kinds of controversial topics and stuff. And I felt it was brilliant. I met, some very, very amazing people there, some of them lifelong friends that became religious in Stuyvesant High School. And quite literally, somebody made the sale. You know what they tell you always when you get involved in sales? It's important not just to talk about your product, but it's important to clinch the sale. So my friend Jeff, one day after the club, was riding home on the train with me. And he said to me, why don't you become Orthodox? So I said, Jeff, you don't understand. That's good for people that were born this way. But, my family, we light Hanukkah candles if somebody remembers. And, we had, a Hanukkah bush that we all kind of winked and nodded at what that really was. But, everybody else had a tree. So at least we could have something, right? But, I have nothing to do with this. So he's like, so why are you coming to the club? I said, because it's awesome. I love learning about your culture. So trying to explain, no, it's yours too. All you have to do is join up. I was like, well, is there some kind of initiation process? And he's like, good news. We went through that many thousands of years ago. It was called the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai, and you're in. You're one of us. Just start doing it. And I was elated. I was like, that's it. I'm in. Just tell me what I have to do. And it was,
wow,
it was a total Nasiv Nishma moment back in January of 1994. And yeah.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah, I'm an NCSY graduate and an OU employee and forever indebted to the Orthodox Union.
Wow, it's incredible.
When I travel, I also go looking around for kosher products. And when you live in Brooklyn, New York, it's hard to imagine that there's such a thing called not having kosher available to you in every possible way. But it's exciting for me as well to be able to go into a factory and see the food and know that someone's going to benefit from it in the end. And as a consumer, when I'm able to go into a supermarket in the middle of nowhere and find kosher food and realize how blessed we are to live in America, it's very, very, very much a thing to be proud of. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a great interview with the rabbi. Check out his full interview as well. It talks about his travels all over the world, the different types of fishes that he's encountered and all that he's done. A couple more Shabbat Shalom before we end. To Rachel from Providence, Rhode Island, Shabbat Shalom to you. Stephen from Denver, Colorado, Shabbat Shalom to you. To see what we got here. I think we're good on the Shabbat Shaloms. If not, I apologize, I missed you. And want to thank everybody for tuning in on a show that I think, Tehillah Friedman, Shabbat Shalom to you. Tuning into a show that I think, from like I said, no matter what your relationship is to kosher, it begins to inform us of things that we otherwise would take for granted, because that's really what this is about. That's what Shabbat is about. It's about stopping so that we can actually stop taking things for granted. It gives us the ability to pause and appreciate things that were right in front of us. Because as I once heard a long time ago, see if you know this reference, some of the best things in life are free. And some of the best things we have in our lives are right in front of our faces. We just don't appreciate it. And I hope wherever you are in the world, you pull something off the shelf, you look at it and it says a little OU on it. And we realize that that little OU required enormous amounts of efforts, and other organizations that are part of this as well. There are other kosher certification organizations as well that also deserve credit. And when you look at that stamp of approval, that was someone's life. That is somebody going from different parts of the world. That is somebody waking up in the middle of the night. That is somebody checking plants and leaving your family and going across this globe to try to make sure that every little thing works, so that people that hold by their principles and eat a certain way can eat. And regardless of where we are on this, in this observance, still it's the same appreciation. We're still the same people. We're still working, and we appreciate each other, and we appreciate the people that are out there doing the best for all of us. And that's what Shabbat is. Shabbat is the ability to appreciate what we have, to appreciate the world that we're in. I got to tell you personally, I love stories of that girl, Rachel. I love it. I love when we stand for our principles and the world has to adapt to us, where we stand strong wherever we are and say, I'm proud of who I am, wherever level that you're at. I'm proud of where I am, and I'll hold strong, even if it costs me more time and effort and energy. Because if you stand strong long enough, people will adapt to us and will allow us and everybody else to stand by their principles. And so this Shabbat, let us appreciate what we have. Let us appreciate the things that we would have otherwise taken for granted. Let us appreciate the people that have stood for their principles and how they've made the world easier for the rest of us. And let us make sure that we're standing for our own principles, whatever those principles are. Make sure that we stand for them no matter what. And on behalf of me and mine, to you and yours, I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom. May this be a Shabbat of introspection, a Shabbat of appreciation and gratitude. May this be a Shabbat where we take a breath and realize that each and every one of us has values and principles that we hold dear to our hearts, and know that if we have to fly around the world, we're not giving them up, no matter what. When we stand for what we believe in, it's amazing how much the world will give it, will allow us to be the true us. So on behalf of us here at Project Inspire, I hope and I pray that next Shabbat I can join with you in real joy in Jerusalem. But if not, wish you a good weekend, a good Shabbos, a Shabbat Shalom, and I hope and pray with God's help to see you again next week. Shabbat Shalom.